Bought a van, and here she is.
Hey there guys, today we are going to introduce you to our van.
That's right, last week we told you we'd bought a van, and here she is.
We'd tell you her name, but the fact is she doesn't have one yet.
No, we honestly haven't thought of a name, but she is a 2019 Mercedes Sprinter 2500 4x4.
She's a 170 wheelbase, the extended version. So lots of room for us to build in here.
Now, I know a lot of people out there are like, yeah, you bought the biggest van out there for your van build. Yeah, that's true. Keep in mind, we are actually downsizing from a 30-foot Airstream.
So this is, for us, very much smaller, and we already love driving this thing around. We feel like we can go just anywhere in it compared to what we could do in the Airstream. We think it's going to actually take us to a lot of awesome places coming up here. Okay, let's talk why we actually decided on this van over a Promaster or a Transit. Why did we go new instead of used, and all those wonderful things. So first thing is, why did we decide to go new instead of used? It's really, really hard to find a good used van that doesn't have 1 million miles on it out there.
And the price difference on something like a Mercedes Sprinter with, and I'm just comparing, apples to apples here. So a Sprinter with, 150,000 plus miles are going for over, $22,000 in the area that we're in. And I mean, that's pretty significant.
And it's also kind of scary to me because with something with 150,000 plus miles, I have no idea what I'm getting. Yeah, I mean, you can see the car reports and stuff like that, see if they serviced it, but we really don't know how somebody treated a vehicle. And we're going to put a significant amount of money into our build, so we wanted to have something we know that is reliable and is going to last, and for us, that meant new.
So we did do our due diligence.
Try again.
So we did do our due diligence when looking at vans. So we looked at the Ford Transit and the Dodge Promaster. So this video is not to bash any of those options.
Because for some people, they're great options, but for us, that's not what we wanted.
So, and a lot of what we're going to talk about is going to be totally subjective, and why we bought this van is because the major thing about this Sprinter overall was I love the way it drives. I love the way it handles.
And we plan to do a lot of driving in this. We're hoping to make it through Central and South America, Alaska, Canada, the U.S. So
maybe the world.
Maybe the world. So we plan to put a lot of miles on this thing, so we want it to be drivable and to be comfortable when we're in it.
So I'm just under 72 inches, and I mean like a hair, under 6 feet. So the Ram Promaster, my knees were in my chest, and it also had a raised deck.
Yeah,
so,
this is in the cockpit when driving.
Yeah, yeah, this is in a cockpit, and you feel like you're super high up there.
I felt like when we were driving, I actually felt like unsteady. It felt like a little more tipsy-topsy to me than the other ones did, so I felt like maybe it was that 3 inches that you sit higher in the cab.
But on the positive note, the ProMasters that we did try, the wide bodies, yeah, they were really wide and they were really spacious. So, I mean, that's one of the reasons why a lot of people do go with ProMasters.
Yeah, and the other thing is about the ProMaster is it's got a little bit more of a boxy frame, so it looks like it would be a lot easier to build in than having to deal with like all the curves, like especially in the Mercedes that you have to deal with. Okay, so we also looked at the Ford Transit, and they were pretty good. They would probably have come in at our second choice, but once we got to comparing the prices and being able to have the four-wheel drive and the Mercedes and everything, we ultimately decided to go with that. But the great thing about the Transit is it is super tall. So it is the tallest of all three of the vans. So if you are tall, it gives you a lot of extra head space to build with.
Because if you're over 6'1" or 6'2", you may have a hard time standing up in the van. I don't remember the exact interior height on the Transit, but that is something that, will give you more headroom if that's something that you're, absolutely dead set on. The handling of the van was nice. It was fine.
Yeah, definitely better. It felt a lot better than the ProMaster did. The ProMaster for drivability would have come in last place for us. The Ford Transit, comfortable, but This Mercedes is like smooth as butter.
It really is. I mean, driving the extended, it doesn't feel like the ginormous van that it is. So, yeah, there are parts where, you can't park in a regular parking spot. If you have a little bit of sidewalk or something behind you, you can back it in and not stick out as bad. But our reasons for having a camper van may differ from yours. I really don't want to be in big cities a lot.
Agreed.
So
we like to go through them, visit for a couple days or whatever, but big cities are not going to be where we want to be. Okay, so another big difference between these vans, or I guess kind of big difference to kind of talk about, is gas versus diesel. Obviously, of all of our choices, I don't know what that was. It looked like a spider or something. I think it was just, I don't know. Anyway, so gas versus diesel. So the Promasters that we looked at and the Ford Transit are gas engines. The
Transit is available in diesel this year. Mm-hmm. So buyer beware in the first year of engines. I'm kind of skeptical on first year of vehicles, but
yeah. So obviously, whether diesel is a pro or a con for you, it depends on you. For us, we like it. We think that the diesel engines just last a lot longer. You get better gas mileage from them.
The gas mileage on this vehicle has actually been super impressive. So
not that we've gone very far. We've gone 292 miles. That's it.
That's weird that you know that.
I looked at this speedometer today, and it's been all like just driving around to random places because we're tired of being inside, but yet we still have to social distance.
So this is the first diesel that I've had that's required diesel exhaust fluid. So I mean,
that's
one of the downsides is we are still planning to do our Pan American in this puppy, and they don't sell DEF basically south of the border, but Amazon delivers. So
yeah, hopefully.
Plus, I mean, you're not just pouring through gallons and gallons of DEF. So I mean, we may even be able to carry enough DEF without even ordering any. So
yeah. So basically, to summarize, like the different vans for us. The Promaster, what we liked about it was the wider body, the more like square building structure, and that's kind of where it ended for the pros for us on that. Lots of cons for us, just drivability and comfort weren't there. The Transit...
It was the cheapest of the vans, though. The Promaster was the cheapest.
Yeah. The Transit for us was middle of the line. Like, if we had ended up with the Transit, we wouldn't have been unhappy. Also, by the way, 2020 is the first year that they've come out with the all-wheel drive version of the Transit fan. So,
if you're looking for all-wheel drive, then that's something to keep in mind.
That was another obvious big reason why we went with the Sprinter, was for the 4x4. But yeah, for us, the Transit was just dead middle of the line. It was very drivable. It was comfortable. Had that extra height. Lots of good things going on there. But in the end, the Mercedes obviously won out because...
The drivability of this van, I can seriously drive this van for hours, and I think that's part of van life in general.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just sitting in a regular car sitting in the front of this thing, and it feels super, super comfortable, and so...
And she handles, I know where, the front end and the back end of the vehicle is at all times. I know that sounds kind of weird, but when you get to drive big vehicles, sometimes you don't know where your tail is and where the front is, and it's a little concerning.
Yeah. And then obviously the big cons with the Mercedes, because, in all fairness, we have to kind of say what the cons would be, and that's the DEF fluid. They tend
price.
To be they're a little pricier, although I don't think that much pricier than the other vans nowadays.
They're actually really not. The 4x4 option on this, if we took it away, is an $8,000 option from the factory. Mm-hmm. So if you just wanted a two-wheel drive, Sprinter, then that's $8,000 right there, right off the price. Mm-hmm. Another con is the
maintenance.
So. I actually read, I think it was Edmunds.com. You can Google this and fact check me here, but it's 10 cents per mile, which is significantly more than the other vehicles. However, Mercedes for the Sprinter only recommends oil changes every 20,000 miles, and that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, so basically, those are our reasons kind of why we ended up going with this, why we went new instead of old. We're really excited to get to building this thing. In full disclosure again, we have no idea what we're doing.
No, we don't. So, anyway, we do not have a name yet. If you guys would like to suggest a name.
Yeah, so I thought like a couple of the things we had like briefly mentioned is she's kind of like a bluish gray.
She kind of looks like an Amazon Prime van.
Yeah, so the Amazon Prime vans here are a little darker gray, so we thought maybe her name could be Amazonia.
Please help me out with the name, please.
And she also looks kind of like Robin's eggish to me,
below.
so maybe her name could be Robin or Birdie. Kind of like Birdie.
Give us a good name. We need help. So
yeah, so drop those in the comments. Tell us what you think we should name it, and then go ahead and. If you enjoy our videos, hit that subscribe button and hit that notifications bell. We are starting our build, and we are super excited.
You're not going to want to miss this.
Yeah, we are super excited.
Everyone else on the internet is like, ooh, look at our perfect van build. Guess what, guys? That's not us, and it should be pretty entertaining. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this video. And until next time, stay wonderful.
Can we really say that right now? Should we be encouraging people to stay wonderful?
Okay, stay 6 feet away from people, wear a mask, cough into your elbow.
And while you're doing that, be wonderful.